Hello and welcome to week 6 of LIBS 501. This week we will be looking at the steps of apply and acknowledge. So for this week, what I need you guys to be working through. For required materials, we have our week 6 instructor video. We also have a video on quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. And then we have an article from Germana, which is incorporating sources into research. For supplemental or non-required materials to look through, we have our basics of citing and referencing in APA 7th video, the basics of APA in text citations video, an article from Scribber, which is looking at our APA in text citations and looking at more specifically the multiple authors and missing information. And then we also have an article from Madonna University of source integration examples. We also have information from our APA style guide to look at. So please look at the basic principles of citations, parenthetical versus narrative in text citations, paraphrases, and quotations. As mentioned before in earlier weeks, if you are using the physical publication manual, in parentheses, those numbers are the sections that correlate with each of these topics. Now for our assignments to do this week, we have our incorporating sources and in-text citations assignment, round 1, and our challenges of incorporating sources post through our discussion board. So our information literacy topics for this week are our last 2 steps of apply and acknowledge. So applying is incorporating information found into a specific project. We will be working through this week as well as next week. So both are round 1 and round 2 of our incorporating sources and in-text citations assignments. The 2 discussion posts, one of the challenges of incorporating the sources as well as our peer review that we'll be doing next week. For the step of acknowledge, it is crediting the original source of information, and as I have mentioned multiple times, we'll be working with citations through the rest of this course. So in-text citations, it's a little bit different than our reference page, so I wanted to really make sure you guys have a strong understanding of these. So in-text citations are a reference made within the body of a text, alerting the reader to a source that has informed your work. Normally, it's going to include the author's last name, the date of publication, and page numbers if necessary. This is going to be used for direct quotes, paraphrasing, and summarization. So parenthetical citations is where the author's name and publication date are not mentioned within the text. Instead, they appear in parentheses after the information is presented. So here we see a really nice example of it. So the information is provided about social media, and then here at the end of the sentence, we have our closed parenthesis of Picton et al., who is our author, comma, 2018, which is our publication date. We're closing that parenthesis and then adding our period at the end. Now, narrative citations is where the author's name appears within the running text and the date appears immediately after the author's name. Please note that the author's name needs to appear in the text where it's most logical. So here's an example of it where it's talking about participants in a study by Picton et al., who is our author, and then again directly after the author's information is our date in parentheses, where they shared different content on social media sites. So then it's providing what that research looked at. Now, a few notes on in-text citations. So when using a parenthetical citation, the end of the sentence punctuation comes after the parentheses. So here's the example of falsely balanced news coverage. We have our parentheses, our author, our date, we're closing the parentheses, and that is where the period lands. Now, when providing a direct quote, the order of punctuation is quotation marks, parentheses, and then the ending period. So, there we go. Finding my mouse again, we have our quotation marks of our quote of high performance along one domain does not translate into high performance along another. That is the end of our quote. We're closing those quotations. We have our parentheses, Irvin et al., our comma, 2018 of the date. We also have our page 470, which is where this quote is located at. We're closing the parentheses and ending with a period. Now, for the assignment instructions, so for the incorporating sources and in-text citations assignment, round 1, we'll need you to be writing at least 2 paragraphs of your essay, which has been assigned to you from an outside graduating nursing course. Within your writing, include at least 2 academic sources utilizing in-text citations. Your paragraphs cannot be the introduction or conclusion of your paper, but instead must be part of the body of your essay. Take this time to get feedback from me. You guys get to workshop this, see what's working, what's not, and get good feedback. So please make sure you're giving me good work here. So also please provide a reference list page listing out the sources used within this assignment. All your sources must be APA style and listed alphabetical order. You don't need to give your full reference list, but if you have it already, feel free to submit that as well, and I can give you feedback on that. For this part of the assignment, you do not need to have a title page for the round 1. So that is what this assignment is looking at, and how it's breaking down for 50 points. We have 15 points for our writing style. Do we have good flow? Is it looking good? 25 points for our parenthetical documentation. So are your in-text citations looking good? Are you using a variety of styles, paraphrasing, summarizing a few direct quotes? Are you kind of mixing and matching and expanding on that? And then 10 points is going to go to our citations and reference list formatting. Again, the full rubric is listed both in the instructions document and within the assignments folder. So for this week's to-do, required materials to look through, we have the week 6 instructor video, the MCOM's YouTube video of quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing, as well as Germana's article on incorporating sources into research writing. Please also look at the APA style guide online, either those links or in the physical book. We also have our supplemental or non-required materials to look through, which is Smart Students' YouTube video on basics of citing and referencing, Scribber's video, and their associated article about in-text citations, and the Madonna University's article on source integration. For this week's assignments, we have our incorporating sources and in-text citations assignment round 1. So it's please write at least 2 paragraphs using at least 2 sources and include your in-text citations and write in APA style. This assignment is due on Thursday. And then we also have the challenges of incorporating sources post. So discuss what challenges and struggles you're having with in-text citations and incorporating those sources. Also, please make sure you're replying to 2 of your classmates, so that initial post is due on Thursday and your responses are due on Sunday. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can always email me or set up a one-on-one meeting, either virtually or in person. I look forward to seeing your guys' work, seeing how you guys are pulling all of those sources you've worked together, creating good in-text citations, and I will be giving you feedback as well. So have a great rest of your week, and I will see what you guys have submitted.